Hello students, welcome to chapter 4 of grade 6 science. This chapter is sorting materials into groups, and for our convenience we are going to divide it into two parts. So this part is going to be part 1. Before we proceed further, there is a request to you. Please like, subscribe and share the channel. Your action will mean a lot to me. The learning objectives for this chapter are: explain grouping and sorting of materials, list out the properties of materials, define matter and discuss the three basic states, perform experiments to understand the properties of materials, and lastly, group materials based on their common properties. The first three chapters have shown us a variety of food and cloth items. To our amazement, there are a vast variety of objects around us. Our world is full of living and non-living things. If we see the living things, we have a vast variety of plants and animals. Some are small, big, bigger, and the biggest. There are many non-living things like rocks, cars, water, machines, and volcanoes. And then there are things which are natural or made by the humans. Some are visible to the naked eye, whereas some are only visible under a microscope. They exist in the three basic states, that is, solid, liquid, and gas. Based on the features, all the objects around us can be categorized as living and non-living, hard and soft, visible and invisible, solid and liquid, etc. Let's discuss about sorting. When we divide the objects into various groups based on their features, it is called sorting. Now a question arises at this point. Why do we need to sort the things? Put on your thinking caps and keep thinking. There are two main reasons for it. Number one, sorting makes our life more organized, and number two, allows systematic study of things. There are two words, sorting and classification, which are taken up in the discussions. Let's have sorting versus classification. So based on the definition, sorting is grouping items by common similarities. So the examples can be placing all red blocks together or placing all green blocks together. Whereas classification is placing items in predetermined groups based on certain similarities and dissimilarities. Example, dogs are mammals, snakes are reptiles, whereas both of them are animals. Next we have materials. When we look around, we observe things made of different kinds of material. Like we can have a chair made from plastic, wood or steel. And we can have pens which can be made from plastic, metal or wood. Now all the materials around us are made of matter. Let's try to define matter. Matter is anything that has mass and occupies space. So now we'll look into the definitions of mass and space. So mass is the amount of matter or substance that makes up an object. It is measured in the units called kilogram, and smaller units are grams. Whereas the space occupied by matter is known as its volume. A science fact at this point of time. Sound, heat and light are not made of matter. They are different forms of energy. Here we have a table with different types of objects that are made from the same material. So if we see wood, wood can be converted into objects like chair, table, bed or body of the bullock cart. If we see paper, paper can be converted into books, newspaper, notebooks and toys. Leather can be converted into wallet, jacket, shoes or belt. Plastic can be converted into bottle, pen, toys or bucket. Cotton can be converted into towel, shirt, handkerchief or cotton swabs. Lastly, glass can be converted into marbles, looking mirror, windshield or bottle. Next we have a table with different types of objects that are made from different materials. Like a plate can be made from steel, glass, plastic or ceramic. A pen can be made from plastic, metal, wood or paper. Whereas a chair can be made of wood, brass, steel or plastic. Properties of materials. Materials have their special features called properties which help us to decide how they can be used. It will be really silly to think of a container made of cloth to store liquids, or utensils which are actually made from plastic or wood. There are various properties of materials which we are going to discuss now. Let's begin with the first one, which is appearance. Materials can be grouped on the basis of appearance of their surfaces. Luster and smoothness are the two characteristics that allow us to distinguish between materials. Let's define luster. The property due to which some materials shine is called luster. Example, silk is more lustrous than cotton. Metallic kettle is more lustrous than paper. Let's check the following materials for their luster. So we have material on one side and luster. If it is present, yes, or else, no. The first one is marble, yes. Leather, no. Silver, being a metal, yes. Wood, no. Paper, no. Copper, again a metal, yes. Iron, again being a metal, yes. Also, metals like copper and iron lose luster on exposure to air and moisture. If a sandpaper is used to remove the top layer, the shiny surface can be seen again. Out of the two characteristics for appearance, we discussed about luster. Now let's discuss about smoothness. If we touch the surfaces of different materials, we can make out if they are rough or smooth. Example, glass pane is smooth whereas stone is rough. Eggshell is smooth whereas sandpaper is rough. Knowing the three states of matter becomes important at this point of time. It will help us have a better understanding of the properties of materials. The three states. We all know that matter exists in three basic states: solid, liquid, or gas. Apart from these, plasma and Bose-Einstein condensate are also states of matter that we don't usually get to see in regular life. Let's have a brief description of all the three states. We begin with the solid state. In solid state, the molecules are held very close and hence solids are hard, strong and rigid. Example, iron and silver. Solids can change into liquids upon heating and this process is called melting. Few solids turn directly into gases without becoming a liquid. This process is called sublimation. Coming over to the liquid state. In liquid state, the molecules are held less closely and are under a weaker force than in solids. Thus, liquids are slightly compressible and can flow. Example, water and milk. Liquids take shape of the container in which they are placed. Liquids change into gases upon heating and this is called evaporation. Also, liquids change into solids upon cooling and this process is called freezing. And lastly, we have the gaseous state. In gaseous state, the molecules are held far apart and are under weakest force of attraction. Hence, they have neither definite volume nor definite shape but easily compressible. Example, oxygen and nitrogen. Different gases mix due to a property called diffusion. Also, gases change into liquids upon cooling and this is called condensation. A science fact at this point of time. Water exists in all the three states at a certain temperature and pressure. This is called triple point of water and it exists at 0.01 degrees Celsius and 0.006 atmospheric pressure. Let's see the augmented reality based setup for studying the three states of water. Here we have an experimental setup to show conversion of solid state into liquid state and liquid state into gaseous state. So we have ice in one of the beaker which is being heated by a spirit lamp. That ice is getting converted into liquid, which is water, and then again being heated to get converted into steam. With this, we come to an end of part 1 from the chapter Sorting Materials into Groups. In case you have any questions or queries, please write a mail to learning.space.mk@gmail.com. We'll meet again in the second part. Till then, happy learning!